Alrighty then, let me get this straight. We've got a government in Britain that's decided the real enemy isn't the people spying for China or Iran or whoever's paying top dollar for our secrets this week. No. The real villains, according to Keir Starmer and his band of box-ticking human rights lawyers, bureaucrats, are the SAS lads who risked everything 30 odd years ago to stop the IRA from turning Northern Ireland into a bloodbath. That's right, this is the same government that can't find the manpower to chase down actual traitors, people actively selling us out to hostile states. But they've got the time and the money and the brass neck to drag SAS veterans through the courts. These were men who were literally sent into the dark, given a job no one else would touch and told to keep the country safe. And now they're being hounded by lawyers in suits who've never heard a shot fired in anger, never mind dodged one. Meanwhile, you got actual spies, people caught red-handed passing secrets to our enemies, get a slap on the wrist, if that. Apparently it's their human rights concerns, they say, due process, all that bollocks. Funny how those concerns only seem to apply when it's convenient for the enemy, isn't it? And like I mentioned a few videos ago, 9 British Army full generals, I'm not going to say 4-star generals, that's an American thing. These are full generals, crown, pip and sword and baton, that's the rank. The kind of men who don't write open letters unless the building's on fire have come out and said it plainly. This isn't just unfair, it's dangerous. According to the press, the SAS is bleeding talent. Good men are walking away because they know the next time they're asked to do the impossible, the thanks they'll get is a knock on the door by some ambulance-chasing solicitor with a clipboard and a grudge. And these generals aren't panicking, by the way. They're warning. They're warning against lawfare. If you don't understand, it's like a weaponized legal nonsense. It's a direct threat to national security, they reckon. Their words, not mine. And they're right. You know, you can't run an elite unit if every operator's looking over his shoulder for a subpoena instead of a sniper. So let that sink in. It is unthinkable and insane that the British government will seek to prosecute the men who kept the IRA at bay and let spies walk. Remember, it was the Labour government, Starmer's government, who allowed a Chinese spy trial to collapse a few weeks ago. And their excuse is, well, the previous government didn't state that China was a threat to our country. I mean, come off it. And we wonder why the world's laughing at us, and they really are. This isn't justice. This isn't even incompetence. This is like a surrender, dressed in human rights jargon and served with a side of moral cowardice. Keir Starmer and his lot, they really need to decide whose side they're on, because right now it doesn't look like ours, does it? And when it comes to a British coup, I mean, I'm just thinking about ways Keir Starmer could leave before he calls for a general election, and the British Army could not legally or constitutionally remove Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. The Army's role is strictly, apolitical. It's sworn to defend the Crown and uphold the law, and any intervention in civilian governance would constitute high treason. And if I remember, that's the Treason Felony Act 1848, or Mutiny under the Armed Forces Act 2006, and such an act would trigger immediate court-martials, arrests and international condemnation, which could in turn potentially lead to civil unrest or collapse of the armed forces' cohesion. So what the army really needs is a radical general with his finger on the pulse, who understands and is prepared to risk it all, lose everything, if the coup fails. But for the coup to succeed, he'll have to take control of the courts and local authorities, and we don't have enough army for that. I do believe we have more policemen and women than we do members of the armed forces. Heck, and I'm not bragging here, I've got more subscribers than there are members of the British Armed Forces. But like I said, it's going to take an exceptional general who knows what they're doing with the bollocks to carry it out and have enough support. But I'm telling you now, my experience in the army is people who are career-orientated have a certain selfishness about them. The army is, in a way, kind of like a normal job. There is that greasy pole to climb up and people to step on to climb up the ranks. It's the same in that regard. So finding that leader in the armed forces is near impossible, I reckon. Remember, insurrection is breaking the law. That's what it would be, a coup, military or otherwise. But something needs to happen in this country or we're going to hell in a handcart, ladies and gents. Bad leaders have been removed before and they can be removed again. But not when you have career-orientated officers in the British Army. I mean, you could have the whole army sign a letter to Keir Starmer saying how unhappy they are with the prosecution of veterans, and the guy would use it as toilet paper. You know it, it's a fact. And there we go. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. I'm Paz49. Thanks for listening. And until the next time, Roger Trout.